Welcome home, ladies and gentlemen. The iRacing Radical E Cup heads to a place that has seen so much amazing racing over the course of its years, and this, for Formula Racing, is home out there for so many. It's also home for British motorsport tracks. It is the proverbial home after there is no more Brooklands racing circuit. This is Silverstone, and this is one of the iconic circuits in all of the world. Welcome here to Battling with the Track Day specialists here in the iRacing Radical E Cup. I'm Jake Sperry, that's JR Gregory, alongside with me for this one. And JR, as far as today goes, we're in drop round season now, and it means that points are going to be at a premium.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Now is the chance for a couple of people. I'm looking at you, Andre Castro. He has a couple of misses, so he burned some drops early, and he is definitely in position to shoot up the scoreboard that we'll show you a little bit later.
Yep, so there are so many opportunities. Season started all the way back in March at Mugello and then over to Suzuka. We've seen a number of races through this. Silverstone, of course, round 9, and it leaves just the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and then the Adelaide Street Circuit to round out the championship on June 5th. Horvard Gullikson is currently on top, 1,707 points. He's got a lead of about 120 over James Barry, with Heinz Braun and George Gonzaga third and fourth. Andre Castro, though, will have the ability, with the drops he's already taken, to leapfrog up the order, as Kjetil Larsen is sixth and Peter Evagny is then in seventh. It then leads with Sebastian Lipp, Rafa Blanco and Robert Woodward to make up your top 10 of the iRacing official standings here in the Radical E Cup. So that is setting itself up on what is a very cold and very blustery day out there today here at Silverstone. They've got 8 minutes to set a time in, 2 laps available to it, and arguably the quickest but also most treacherous conditions you can find.
Yeah, absolutely. That 19-degree track temperature, pretty kind. These public races in the Radical Esports Cup tend to be pretty kind to the drivers in terms of track temp, but look at that humidity, 95. And Silverstone, definitely a track that is circled on my calendar as being very hard on tires, and that high humidity and a lot of front slip is not going to do these drivers any favors. Even though it's a short sprint race, they're going to be feeling that tire wear by the time it's over.
Well, it's only 13 laps today. They don't have long to set themselves up, but it's a real pea super out there for everyone who's trying to get it sorted. Jensen Emmett then one split here tonight, so all 24, a maximum size grid that is there and in play. Ryan Stringer going 7th quickest out there, and immediately usurped by Kjetil Larsen, who jumps up and finds it. So this is going to be about find yourself up as high as you can in the order, otherwise you're going to be in a world of trouble. There is the Bürosud Plus competition car, or Office South as its name translates into German. It's Andre Castro in the number 1, highest I rating in the field, a driver who knows all about the racing world with his TC America exploits. He's going to be looking to find some big old pace.
Yeah, Castro is really, as we discussed, had a couple of missed events because of his day job of driving real cars, and so he needs to cash in here at Silverstone. And very interestingly, if you follow the Radical Esports Cup, you know about that incident between Jake Williams and Castro at Spa. This is the first time they've been back on the track since then. Castro with some kind of spicy commentary about that incident with us here in the booth on RaceSpot. So keep an eye on that. Those two drivers are going to be at the pointy end of the field. If they spend a lot of time close, we could see that bad blood boil over Jake.
And he's pulled over to one side with his second lap not counting. So Andre Castro is going to be gone and will have to go from the back of the field tonight to make this work. So that is a real shame out there for him, that he's going to have to do the hard yards. Noah's Boulderstone then short by 5 thousandths, but James Barry finds a couple tenths of a second to give himself more of a margin. Jack Veazey up to 4th as we focus on Jesus Hernandez here trying to work the number 21 car into position onto the fabled long hanger straight.
Wow, unbelievable. Andre Castro, you could put him out here for 100 qualifying sessions and he would do what you saw him do just now one time, if that. Unbelievable. He did not record a time, and Castro is going to be DFLing it off the start, and he's going to have his work cut out for him. I guess, Jake, I'll say that he's my early favorite for the hard charger in this one.
Yeah, he'll certainly be the one that can get the most places in this one. Hernandez over then to start a flying lap. Romain Faux is going to get a penalty then in the pit, so he's not going to worry too much about that. His lap times won't be there, but critically with a minute to go in qualifying, you don't get to the end of the lap to finish it. Once the clock hits 8, that's it. It's hard cut and you're straight into running. So it's a case of who is going to be able to get a lap time in. I don't think David Turley is going to manage that. Kiriakopoulos is out of laps. I'm just looking through. I think they're going to get timed out here right now, JR. And so these drivers, they're not going to get a lap and they're going to start 23rd and 24th based on the iRating.
Oof, and that is going to hurt just as much as it hurt Castro. Very, very tough to get moves done out here. This is the kind of track that kind of relies on applying pressure and waiting for mistakes. Not a lot of great opportunities. And look at those Union Jacks at the top of our timing tower there of the folks who have showed up to defend their home turf here at Silverstone.
Wow. It is a very select field up at the top of some incredible drivers as Jake Williams on his third lap throws it through, qualifying in the books. Let's run yourselves through the grid. This is how they are going to stack themselves up here tonight at Silverstone. It's the number 3, James Barry, who has got himself the best time on the board with 154.869. He will have Noah Osbaldeston for company along the front row, who are second in the British Sim Racing Cup. You've got Jake Williams third and Jack Veazey in fourth, as Kjetil Larsen and Håvard Gulliksen make up a Norwegian third row of the grid. Then it's Dennis Kiriakopoulos and Rafa Blanco 7th and 8th, as George Gonzaga starts 9th, with Scorpio Esports is Ryan Stringer rounding out your top 10. It then follows with Enrique Vela and Robert Woodward on row 6. It's then following that Marco Tempesti and Menno de Graaf with Chris Wetz and Romain Faux then in 16th position. Ken Verbruggen is more known for a Lotus 49. Nice to see him out here in the Radicals as Kaya Erai Elderson is 18th. He then got Jensen Emmett, Callum Neave, Ole Gulliksen, Castro Hernandez and Turley there. Your 24 cars that are out there and available. 2 minutes to get themselves gridded up here. They await the likes then of Dennis Kiriakopoulos to get onto the grid, and some drivers are already electing to try and get some engine temperature in early to try and help them on this launch and start. Try and get that engine heated up, get the oil going through, the fuel going through a little bit quicker, and so therefore having a better start out there. But Andre Castro on the back, David Turley is not going to take them to the start of this race, so we are set then. 13 laps gets going right now, and we are underway. Horrible start for Jake Williams, who bogs down a mile off of the get-go. It forces then to Abbey Corner, 3 wide into 2, as already Kjetil Larsen gets into third. One car runs off wide, that's Rafa Blanco, but as they run through farm and into the village for the first time, it's too clear at the front, but critically, it's Noah Osbaldeston who's got the jump and the lead over James Barry.
Wow, what a start by Osbaldeston. And if he has been out here on one of our Friday broadcasts, I did not notice him. That is a new name for me. But yeah, the Brit showing up to defend Silverstone, smokes Barry off of the start. Looks like Larsen and Gulliksen both getting really good starts there. Both of them up 2. So you mentioned Barry lost one, Veazey lost one, and Williams completely swamped, losing 4 positions after a decent qualifying.
Puts him down to 7th. Andre Castro already over the first half a lap is up 7 spaces here, and it's making all of the difference as they work now into Cops Corner, the old turn 1, as Balderston is on the radio to James Barry saying, please don't attack me here. Look, we can play leapfrog on the straight if we want to, but they've got to go through arguably the greatest S's section in all of motorsport, and can you believe that this section only existed in 1990 onwards?
Yeah, that is crazy, and there have been so many configurations of this classic track, and it is hard to believe that that section is a new one. But here we go. We're going to see the game of leapfrog starting right here down the hanger straight. Noah's going to cover the inside. Barry will sweep around the outside, which can work because that'll give Barry the inside line into the next combo. But Noah elbows out. Barry says, gets that P1 back. Great racing already, lap 1.
Yeah, there was contact front to rear, and that's going to cause a little bit of indecisiveness, and as Balderston chucks it right to the pit wall to try and get the run back here at turn 1 along the Lewis Hampton straight, and gets the pass as James Barry had to yield out of it. That puts him in a dangerous position with Kjetil Larsen and Horvath Gulliksen, the IGL Coatings teammates, then trying to work through. Larsen on the inside. You then got Vizi, Kyriakopoulos, Williams, Gonzaga and Blanco. They're all there. Chuck a blanket on them. 9-pack challenge, and this is going to be one of those groups where something will have to give somewhere along this line. Otherwise, it's going to get very, very dangerous very quick.
Ridiculous move there by Noah to snatch that lead away from James Barry. It looked like Barry had squeezed him enough to compromise his entry into that fast right-hander, but Noah hangs on and sneaks past Barry, extending that gap to .2 right now. And here's a look at that start by those IGL Coatings cars.
Yeah, they found their way to third and fourth from the third row up to the second. They'd swamped Jack Veazey as they went through, and as Balderston has just been the uber-aggressive elbows out style that we saw on Tuesday nights in the British Sim Racing Cup as he fought against Crompton Woodhatch for the title there. One car down in pit lane is Roman Foe, who has run into troubles then on the opening lap. But our focus is now through into Beckett's corner, the right, and then the left of Chapel that leads yourself on. It's Horvath Gulliksen, who is sat there right now in fourth, but Jack Veazey trying to follow the Serpentine and all the way to the right-hand side. Can't see it on screen. Veazey has gone to try and make this move. There he is, but he lifts out of it there. Not going to get the run into the very tricky Stowe corner. 9 clear at the front. Wet, Stringer and Castro right now in the second group, and Castro has to clear these two in the next lap, otherwise he's not going to catch the train.
Wow, incredible racing up front here at Silverstone. This is such a fantastic car and track combination, and this track much more difficult and much more nuanced than it looks on paper. You got to know every exit, you've got to know every track limit, and every change in camber. It's diabolical design out here, like a lot of these UK tracks, and the racing here at 2100 GMT Fridays, as it always is, fantastic early. And there's a big move by Jake Williams as he tries to put Veazey out. He's going to get that one done, Jake.
He does so into the loop, and now on the run out of entry, this Wellington straight sets it up. This is what happened to Roman Foe by the looks of things here, the Canadian who found himself with all sorts of dramas. This is coming along to Stowe Corner, which is, to Cops Corner, which is one of the easiest places to get wrong. Oh, he has an argument with Andre Castro, and he just tried to move across to cover the line. Andre's not going to move for anybody, and he basically runs into the bouncer at the nightclub.
Oof, and would you call that a faux pas by Castro, I ask you?
You get a golf clap for that one. You get a golf clap. But at least at the moment, big battles on your screen right now. For the lead, Noah is Balderston trying to play rough shot at the front. You've got just behind that the group on top, where the fighting continues on through with the likes of Gonzaga, Kyriakopoulos, Jack Veazey. They're all looking to try and figure out where they want to be. Castro has deposited a Rick West and Ryan Stringer, and finds himself just dangling off the back at 1.4 seconds here to Rafa Blanco, and could really do with a bit of scrapping out there at the front. They've got organised though at the front, as if the looming threat has now put themselves into position. So I think they're looking around at this and going, well, we can either be here for a good time or a long time, and I think they're now starting to prioritise the long time.
Yeah, time to line up and tick some laps down and create some distance behind, because Andre Castro, if you want to know what kind of skill set Castro is working with, he is up 13 positions now from his starting position on lap 4, only a 4-second gap ahead to the front of the grid. So he is getting his work done, and he has got something to prove here. And man, if he gets on the podium, Jake, it is going to be the drive of the season thus far for Castro. Incredible stuff so far.
Oh, by far, if he can manage to get a podium out there from where he started his placement, and he knows it. There in third is Kjetil Larsen, just playing the long game here, and sometimes you don't want to make these moves early. You don't want to show your hand too early in a race like this. Sometimes it's about getting the moves done at the right time, not just, you know, throwing it out haymakers and hoping you're going to make it happen. You get tired very quickly if you race in that style. So a bit of patience can be rewarded, and I think James Barry has understood that here. He knows he doesn't want to go toe-to-toe with Noah. He's far too risky too early, so I'm going to wait later in the race where I can risk that.
And seeing some little wiggles here out of Noah as you watch Noah leading Barry, Larson, and Gullickson. Williams and Wheezy fighting in the background of that, but a couple of little wiggles here early, only lap 4. And it's certainly a possibility if you overdrive these cars, flog them early, that the tires aren't going to be there for you down the stretch. And we could be seeing some signs of tires getting overheated here by Noah, and we'll certainly keep an eye on that for you.
Jensen Emmett then running into troubles. I believe this is going to be with Jesus Hernandez here, going in through maggots, and that's what happens when you try and find room and you don't find the space available. That is a case of front to rear contact. It drops both of them down the order, and they'll both feel a little red-faced having an issue like that out there on circuit. So focus is very much going to be on forward now for them as they push forward. But right now it's starting to splinter here as a group of 5 and then a group of 5 behind. So Jack Veazey's got to pull his ear out, so to speak. We're now going to look at the Uruguayan Rafa Blanco on board on the bottom of your screen as he focuses behind George Gonzaga.
Yeah, and not in the screen there as we ride along with Blanco on the bottom screen. He has got Castro right behind him. Castro has that gap down to about 4/10. So Blanco, definitely very, very fast driver with a lot of experience in these cars as he stalks Gonzaga. But you know that his eye is on that relative as he sees Castro slowly but surely reeling him in from behind. Yeah,
he's getting there, but the critical thing is going to be the car in front's got slipstream, the car in front of that's got slipstream, the car in front of that's got slipstream. And if that's the case, it means that you're not going to get the best run when everyone else has the same ability to get up to top speed. You need to do something a little bit special in order to make that happen. I think that is going to be the critical sticking point for Andre Castro's race. But what will be critical here is talking championship. James Barry in second, Horvath Gullickson in fourth. It's Gullickson who needs to get the hurry-up message in towards the second half of the race. And the first port of call is he's got to get by his own teammate, and there are no team orders at IGL.
Yeah, no, not at all. And if there were team orders, I am supposing that they would probably favor Gullickson, who's sitting higher in the championship, of course. But look at Barry all over Noah, polishing that bumper. He's been managing that gap. It's been between 1 and 2/10 all this time. And as I said, I thought I saw Noah sliding around a little bit here. So Barry definitely very high marks for racecraft, high marks for patience, and is going to try to apply that pressure to Noah and try to get through here the easy way instead of the risky way, although Noah getting a good drive right there. And you know, Silverstone, Jake, is all about these critical exits onto these long sections. Very, very tough to get the power down at the right time and get it down smoothly, and it's those kind of mistakes that will let your competitor right past you.
Yeah, just like what's happened between George Gonzaga, Rafa Blanco and Andre Castro. The fact that both Blanco and Gonzaga went wide at Stowe Corner, and that allowed Andre Castro then through Blanco at Stowe and then set the run up basically for I'll get it done over at Village then for Castro. He's now up into 8th and we'll be looking at Kiriakopoulos and Veazey. So now is the time here for a summer of content or discontent, and Noah's Boulderstone lifts off and allows James Barry the pass at Cops Corner, and that's an indication that James might be slightly quicker here, but Noah's going to try and find a gap that maybe doesn't exist. Oh my goodness me, what a pass that he has just managed to pull off.
Oh my goodness, Noah, come back. We're here every Friday. Oh my goodness, and a little contact pushes Barry back into Havard Gullickson. That could have been way, way worse, but Noah is getting his work done out here. He's put together 2 of the most epic moves we've seen this season, all within a couple laps here at Silverstone. Great, great stuff.
Well, he's definitely not shy about it. James Barry had the slide. Gullikson now up to third after Kjetil Larsen ran up the back of James Barry. It's Jake Williams who now jumps into fourth, and suddenly the entire group is back together again. Another look, had to let him go for it then at Cox. He immediately got the run back on a tightrope. Gets down the inside for Maggot's corner and around the outside. Yeah, he's slightly out of bounds, but he was able to hold his ground. And I think that was a stellar overtake from a driver with so much promise and potential. And there's the checkup as they went through Beckett.
Yeah, and that just shows absolute mastery of Silverstone. It's very
Castro's
difficult.
gone around. Andre Castro trying to get too greedy down the inside of Dennis Kiriakopoulos has spun.
Oh, Castro had something going there. I was watching the interval between Castro and Jake Williams was down to 1 second. I thought we were going to see those two together, but here is a replay here on your top screen. Castro elbows out here, and we'll see what happens. Oh, goes for the twofer. Oh, boy, it was kind of a dive, Jake, but I think he was there, and Castro's not going to be happy about that spin.
Well, he can argue he's there. I'll also argue the same point, though, JR, that Dennis Kiriakopoulos left him more than enough room to make the pass safely.
Yeah, true that. And all you owe him is one radical's width on the inside, and it looked like Kiriakopoulos was not trying to fight that one, and Castro maybe overcooked that entry, washed out a little bit, causing the contact and turning Castro. So that'll drop him back down to P15. And his chances of that podium I was talking about just took a big, big hit.
Yeah, they're starting to go up in smoke if they haven't done so already here through what we would say is a London smog at this moment in time. So group starting to set themselves ready here, and it's still Osbaldeston who has got himself the control. Barry, Gullikson, Williams, Larsen, Veazey and Kiriakopoulos, your top seven. Then a little bit off the back, it's Gonzaga here and Blanco. The race on for 8th and 9th on the bottom of your screen. Up into turn one, then they go then through Abbey into Farm, now to Village at turn 3. And James Barry knows you don't win this race on lap 8, you win it on lap 13. I wonder if he's going to try and just throw everything he can at the wall on lap 13. This one is just a powder keg ready to explode like the gunpowder plot.
Yeah, absolutely is. And look at those intervals on our timing tower over on the left side of your screen. 1 through 7. The biggest gap between any of those cars is only a half a second. And I'll tell you, when there's a heated situation, Jake, going on in the front of the field, any of those 7 drivers could come across in P1 when that action begins on lap 13. So hang on, folks. This one just getting started.
It is, and now as Balderston over on the right-hand side, just struggling for any form of drive as he comes out of Luffield corner through Woodcut and then into Copse. He's good off the exit then of Copse, so this is going to be a good sense of what James Barry wants, and if they're playing this properly, they can try and pull away from Horvath Gullikson, who's got half a second's worth of gap to chase down. This is where you get the difference between driving aggressive and just trying to drive to build a margin. There are differences out there between the two styles which are there. I would say as Balderson drives aggressively, I think James Barry drives to build a gap.
Yeah, he absolutely does, and he definitely, Barry sees the long game. It's you can play aggressive checkers with him, and he's playing very thoughtful chess while that's going on. And I know that Barry is thinking about his end game. He's counting those laps down. 6 remaining now as we come down that new start-finish straight right now, and that gap, Barry doing a great job managing that. It's not gotten over 0.3, now sitting between 0.2 and 0.3 as Barry biding his time to pounce at the end. Havard Gullikson, he can't be written off of this, Jake, and neither can Jake Williams. This is crazy stuff up front.
Yeah, they're all trying to pay their dues here, think what's the best position for me into the final laps. I would argue being in Gullikson's shoes, being in Jake Williams' shoes, this is a great time to put yourself into play. I would love to be in this position. Here goes James Barry, sends one up at Brooklands in front of the BRDC building out there, and that is a lovely pass then that puts him into position as Balderston trying to take that diamond line out of Luffield corner. That gives him the run along the old straight, the national straight, heading to Copse corners. We'll take a replay. I think this is Kaya Erai Elderson and Jesus Hernandez on the straight. Hernandez getting the pass as Boulderstone takes the race lead back, and 2 into 1 at Copse never goes. Gullickson now up to second now. He got a run as well.
Oh my goodness, and here we go. It's time to light the wick as Gullickson, tired of waiting, gets past Barry. And now Gullickson holding a similar position to Noah, only about 3/10 ahead. But Barry not out of it. However, look out behind Barry. Jake Williams is there. He's almost side by side. That interval getting very close to 0. And here we go, 3 wide can we get?
Well, Jake Williams was trying to feign, and he got the inside that he wanted. He'll be proud of the move he's done. Gullickson having to half defend, going into the Vale, and then club corners here, the final section of this track. Larson then struggling with a bit of side-by-side now with Jack Veazey, who's going to sneak his way up into the top 5, but this is the chance as Boulderstone's been waiting for to break away. 0.6 of a second, he's not got there. Inmates versus the Asylum Seekers at this moment in time, but Kyriakopoulos at this stage can't quite keep this one at bay, as he knows that he's got to try and get through, but he's got no drive to make it happen.
Yeah, and the big shuffling is starting right now. These drivers were ticking their laps down, staying nose to tail, not letting the cars behind catch them, and saving their fights for later on in the race. And that time has arrived, and here we go as Noah right now. Look at that gap that he's developed, a 0.7. That's the largest gap, believe it or not, that he has enjoyed this entire race. So Noah really wants to pedal away right here and leave Gullickson and Williams to fight for P2.
Yeah, so that's going to be really important to note as we are heading our way towards the end game of this race. Who is going to stand on song and ceremony here? Rafa Blanco through on George Gonzaga as he gets the pass into Copse corner. That will move him up then into 8th place. That pass. Jake Williams here. I think they're going to have to understand with Horvath Gullickson. It's 0.8, it's almost 0.9 of a second here. This is the hurry-up message now, because this is difference between race or not. And Andre Castro has run into more troubles out there as he is slow then as he's gone through. In fact, he's had a spin with contact with Menno de Graaf off of a 3-wide moment that has chucked him in the barriers on the run between Copse and Maggots.
Oh my goodness, and Castro running out of patience here in a hurry. It really looked like he had something going. We'll take another look at it right here. That's Castro coming up behind a couple cars side by side here and sees an opportunity, tries to go 3 wide, and oof. You know, that was wrong place at the wrong time. It looked like contact between those 2 cars going side by side is what got Castro caught up there.
Yeah, it's Menno de Graaf on the outside who comes off the curb funny, basically caroms over into Enrique Vela, the Puerto Rican, and then that just left Andre Castro with nowhere to go in that battle. Half a second, though, the gap comes back to again as Gullickson claws his way back to Noah as Boulderstone, as he looks at Jake Williams, he looks at James Barry here right now, trying to go around the outside, threads a needle to try and get it done the long way at Brooklands. He'll have the inside at Luffield to get it back, but it's almost a full car's clearance then for Jake Williams. He leans on him with a bit of contact on the way through, a little handoff push away like he's a linebacker to go and get that back through. Nicely done by James Barry. Jake Williams isn't going to sit by idly, thought a million miles to try and find the pass, isn't going to get there, but they're risking it being 2 and 2 right now instead of a group of 4.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there by Barry. It is tough to get a really good exit consistently out of Luffield when you're by yourself. And you saw Barry make it happen with the car to his outside, puts the power down, and flies down that old pit straight, taking that position away, putting himself back on the podium. And within spitting distance, I got to say, of our Gullickson, only 0.5 with 3 laps remaining.
So, 2 and a bit left on the board, and now you're just starting to posture and position. 4 at the front who can really determine the way this race is going to go. As far as I'm looking at this, for a podium, you've got 4 drivers here and 3 spaces on the podium. Someone's going to end up a bridesmaid in this group.
Yeah, somebody is, and somebody from that second group might get a gift here down the stretch, particularly if Noah feels like rolling the dice late. We've seen him be very, very aggressive. Of course, he's in P1 right now, but I have a feeling that he is not going to step aside for Gullikson if he gets pressure down the stretch. And there's Barry with his nose inside of Gullikson, just showing it can't quite get beside. But Barry sees those laps ticking down, knows that he needs to make something happen now if he wants to catch Noah down the stretch.
Yeah, Gullikson is desperately trying to dance the line between offensive and defensive and looks to the outside to try and make this move again. Does James Barry? Gullikson holds him off then as Gonzaga continues his battles with Rafa Blanco out there. That's wide lines from the pair of them. It allows a sneak up the inside from Jake Williams. That's not going to do anything. Again, the gap goes out to 3/4 of a second here, and they're really struggling. Noah Boulderson is perfect on his lines right now of shaking off any form of draft.
Yeah, and Noah right now, the human metronome of that last lap here late in the race was only a couple hundredths off of his fast lap that he set earlier. So absolute clinic by Noah out there, and I can't overemphasize the kind of mastery of this very difficult course it takes to be consistently fast out here, and Noah putting on a clinic right now.
He's done 2 55.0s to no help. Andre Castro, by the way, a drive-through penalty for incident points. That's how tough of a day he's had it out here today as he has overstepped the mark, but they're now lining themselves up, and Noah Boulderson here has a margin to work with, but will that be reeled down back to half a second? Then the margin sits itself, and this all sets itself for a grandstand. It is Noah Boulderson, whose 4,700 I rating is only good enough for 10. He is currently driving like a 7K, like an 8K out there. The way that he's shown this pace, the way that he can go to a level that everybody else hasn't, this is going to be a critical final lap as they push through. Tough through the corner, and out of existence goes Williams, who shuts one down the inside there on James Barry. And now here comes the crossover for third, and James Barry just says, no, you're not getting it like that, sunshine. I'm going to get my clearance. Oh, they almost turn each other along the straight as they work through. Gonzaga now dropping down the order. He's had troubles out there. Barry will lose out the place to Jake Williams then, who moves his way up into third, and Barry trying to get a big run coming out of left field corner that can step him up on song to go to Cops corner to go for it. Still 0.8 of a second is the margin of Boulderson right now. So long as he hits his marks over through this section of circuit, the old start to the lap, he should be home and dry with this, as Horvath Gullikson can only watch right now and hope that he's got enough straight line to go and claw this back into Maggots. James Barry desperately trying to get a podium to mitigate the damage that Horvath Gullikson is going to inflict on him and his championship aspirations in 4th place. Now here comes the chance on the Serpentine for the final time on the run to Stowe corner, and no, he's going to throw him out wide. There is Jake Williams. They almost turned each other on the run under braking. So much movement, it's brought that in. One final defense, then into the Vale. Barry goes around the outside, and Williams hands him out, and he turns him, and he turns him. Noah Boulderson with the arms wide out is going to take the win at Silverstone, with Gullikson and Barry there second and third. But James Barry will look at that, and Jake Williams will too, and they will say, we will argue this one till the cows come home.
Wow, an instant classic here at Silverstone. That dicing down the stretch for the whole top 5 was incredible. The car control, the bravery under braking, and the skill getting these cars woed up with no anti-lock brakes. I could not have asked for a better display of handling these SR10s. Fantastic, absolutely classic stuff here today.
Well, the answer for everyone was no way are you going to get this done. Here's this final look once again. So James Barry here trying to pick up this run. He gets a masterful run down the crest as he now looks to the outside. He gets that move, and he should be entitled to racing room on the right-hand side and say, look, that's going to be critical, and that is going to be a really, really hard-fought battle out there. And so that was all you needed. Williams tried to shut the door, and you'd argue here a little over the top.
Yeah, it's. I don't think Williams had quite cleared Barry. If he had gotten completely clear, he would have had the right to that second apex where the contact took place, but just a tiny bit of overlap there, and Barry is going to say that Williams turned himself there, and I'm probably going to have to agree with that.
Well, let's get confirmation of result then, as we now look to put it all together. Noah Balderston gets the win. He does so by 0.8 of a second, and it says it's a masterful result. He will take the win then by the 0.8 over Horvath Gullikson, as James Barry gets the last spot on the podium. It's Shekel Larson in 4th ahead of Jack Veazey, with Dennis Kiriakopoulos 6th and Rafa Blanco 7th. You then got Jake Williams in 8th, with Chris Wetz and George Gonzaga rounding out your top 10. Over the page, Enrique Vela and Menno de Graaf had a good battle, 11th and 12th ahead of Robert Woodward and Marco Tempesti. Kevin Verbruggen then labours to a 15th place ahead of Callum Neve and Ole Henrik Gullikson in 17th. Ryan Stringer for Scorpio will end up 18th ahead of Jesus Hernandez, who had a busy day, and Jensen Emmett your top 20. David Turley would be the last one on the lead lap, with Andre Castro a lap down, and then Kaya Erai Elderson and Roman Foe, then your 2 retirees out there. Joining me now is Noah Balderston, your race winner out there. Noah, that is one of the most elbows out performances you've had to find in that Radical. James Barry gave you an almighty scrap through the first half.
Yeah, that was a really tough one. Didn't really know what to expect coming to this, since this is only my second race in the car. And then I sort of joined with Ryan from Scorpion. He told me to sign up to the race. So I thought, yeah, we'll jump in. Did about 20 minutes of practice, and then literally on lap 1, going down the inside of James, who was quick the entire race. I didn't really know what the toe was like. I didn't know what the dirty air was like, and I didn't really want to find out the hard way. So I thought, get the move done nice and early, and then. Yeah, it was a super hard battle. I found loads of things out with the car, learning literally as the race was going on, where to defend, where to weave to try and block the toe. And yeah, it was just a really difficult race, and James and Harvard were almightily fast. Like, no, hats off to them. They were pounding laps out just as fast as me, and we were all doing very, very similar lap times. And what I found with this car is the toe is incredible. Like, sort of coming out of Chapel at 9/10 gap, I thought, I get a good exit, maybe keep it at 8/10, and then all of a sudden I look at the relative and he's 4/10 going into the next corner. So yeah, it was a hugely difficult race, but I think I did the Drive Lounge boys proud with the limited prep, and hopefully it kind of gets the name out there.
Yeah, you did a really good job in terms of the way you drove, and I think the highlight surely for your race, the move into maggots on James Barry coming out of Copse corner. Just talk us through getting that sort of run, giving up that position, and basically pulling the old rope-a-dope.
Yeah, I need to do the replay, but coming out of Stowe, I gave him the position. I thought, at that point, I hadn't really spent much time behind James, and I thought, let's really see how quick this toe is. And I went from about 4/10 gap out of Copse to literally next to him into Maggots and Beckett's, and I thought I'd just line up on the inside to try and put him offline. And then I got to the corner and I realised, I'm now alongside of him. So I kind of had to commit to it. And thanks to James, we gave each other plenty of room. It was really hard racing, really, really aggressive. But it was fair. There was no contact really. There wasn't pushing each other off the track. We paid for the full track. We were going to use the full track. So yeah, it was a super intense battle. And I just got to the inside with a nibble of grass through Max and Beckett's, and then managed to get the move off out of Chapel.
So for you, understanding this car, jumping in, has this one race for you made you someone who is going to be jumping in maybe for more races between now and the end of the season, especially when we talk schedule and the fact that your final 3 rounds are Gilles Villeneuve, the Nordschleife, and the Adelaide Street Circuit?
Potentially. I'll be honest, I could sort of just jumped into this because I didn't really have much else to do on the evening, so I just thought, why not, It helps adaptability, and sort of, if you could just jump into something with limited practice, the skills you develop through, I've been doing it with Drive Lounge, did it with iRemote as well, just being able to jump in and drive, and especially for me, as I want to become an aspiring sort of radical driver as I go up through the prototype ranks, currently Esports 1000, that one of the attributes that all the factory drivers have is that adaptability of where sometimes in real life racing you're only going to get 20 minutes on a test day, and that's what you've got to make work. So things like these have just massively helped me. So yeah, I think I might come through for the few more rounds. I'll have to give it some time and some scheduling. But yeah, fingers crossed I'll be here for future rounds.
Well, a 4.7 KI rating out there, but drives like an 8K, just so consummate. Noah is Balderston getting the job done. Second position belongs to Håvard Gulliksen. He stood by with JR Gregory.
Harvard, great race out there today, and you were right there in the mix. The top 5, 6, 7 cars all separated by 3, 4, 5 tenths throughout most of that one. Crazy stuff, and the game of leapfrog kind of came your way down the stretch and landed you in P2. So, man, oh man, instant classic race out there. It was so fun to watch and so fun to call. How was it in the cockpit today?
It was quite fun, actually. I missed the quali, had bad quali, so I started P6. Not happy with that, but had a good start and just stayed with the other guys. And they, of course, started to fight, and I got past one. And yeah, I just tried to take the opportunities that I got, and trying to defend. Barry was also very, very quick when I passed him, and he was pushing me, and he was trying to trick me into some corners and fake dive bomb, and yeah, so not easy, but overall really happy for the P2.
Yeah, Barry is the puppet master, and he has a way of dancing around in your mirrors and getting you to do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. So cheers to you for not falling for any of that. And as we head down the stretch here, some pretty tough tracks coming up. You're currently sitting in P1, and are you dreading these last 3? You're looking forward to it, and have you had a chance to wheel these radicals around Adelaide? I think that is going to be a tough one.
I've never driven Adelaide before, I think. Maybe me and my brother tried some few laps in the beginning of the season just to try it, but that will be a quali race, because I think passing with the fairness is not easy there, so a good quali will be very important. But yeah, it's more races to go, and I'm just trying to finish, not always on the top, of course, but among the top guys and trying to get the points.
Well, your consistency has definitely paid off. As we said, you're sitting in P1 right now with 3 races remaining. So congratulations again on a fantastic drive and participating in a race that was an absolute classic. And I think you'll enjoy the replay watching it. There was some wild stuff going on out there. But as we wrap up, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Yeah, thank you guys for putting on this show. As you mentioned, I will watch it now in replay and hope for a better result, but I think I will be P2. And of course, all my teammates in the IGL coatings and Sande Trafikkskole.
Well, there you have it. Håvard Gulliksen there with a second place finish out there. James Barry ends up with a P3. But James, the important thing to talk about is that final corner between you and Jake Williams there. It looked like you went for the move on the outside. You weren't necessarily given all the room in the world. There was contact as you pushed through. And then ultimately, he ends up going around and you end up taking the spoils.
Yeah, I didn't really care about that moment in the grand scheme of things, but if you're going to ask about it, then yeah, she tried to push me off the track, so I said, F you, I'm not having that. So that's how that ended. I'm not trying to say I deliberately, tried to spin him around, but I wasn't going to let him just push me off without fighting back in some way. So that was how that went. Maybe he has a different view on it, And then everything up to that point, the whole race was a bit of a blur. Noah just dropped in, so I had a little chat with him. I've never chatted with him before. Cool to see him, new people come to the series. It was a mental race. I didn't like the move he did into Maggots. I thought that was really dangerous. And then the kind of way he rejoined and then almost caused me to spin round when I was so close up to the back of him. So I just wasn't happy about that. But it's a kind of racing that I'm not really used to in this series. We're always very kind of gentlemanly in this series. And then you have these kind of kids who come in here doing all their dive bombs. And all of a sudden I have to really start fighting as hard as I can. And yeah, it's really difficult. But it was, I'm sure it was entertaining for you guys at least.
Well, it looks like today at Silverstone, we know that this is a high drafting circuit in terms of what we've seen compared to other circuits on the various calendars that this Radical runs in. So when you come to this circuit, do you see this as dog eat dog?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with how wide the track is as well. There's so many different lines you can take, and so many ways you can kind of just stick a nose up the inside to put someone off. I think that's what makes the racing really dynamic. And to be honest, it's good. I mean, at least we're not just following in line. Obviously, we were almost falling over each other at times as well, so it was mental. But at least we all kind of survived. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but at the same time, better than some races can be.
Now, let's talk championship. So, drop critically for Andre Castro. This will probably be his worst round after the performance that he pulled out today. For you now against Horvath, would you see this as a good damage limitation heading to the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve?
No, again, I think in the standings, I think you'll see maybe after the next couple of rounds, once we kind of fill up our week's allocation, but I think Horvath's got a massive advantage over me in the championship. And today, again, we had a single split. It was only 24 sign-ups, so the SOF was really low. So, yeah, it's just a shame that some weeks don't really count towards the championship, but I don't really care. Just come here I wanted to win today. I'm not going to hide about that, but at least we could have some fun today.
Car number 3, position number 3. James Barry joining us from Inner E-Racing there and having a really good show of things. Ultimately, though, with a little bit of drama to go and work with. JR Gregory's walked down the virtual paddock. He's caught up with Scorpio Esports' Ryan Stringer.
Ryan, welcome to the broadcast booth and welcome to the Radical Esports Cup. I understand that you're the one that convinced Noah to show up and put his talents on display here for us on RaceSpot and on the iRacing YouTube channel. So great stuff out there and a fantastic scrap at Silverstone. So how was the race from your seat?
I got a little bit destroyed by a few cars throughout the race. Cars just launching it left, right, and centre. But yeah, no, it was doing really well. And then last lap, Gonzaga lost the back end, and then just stopped, and it went whilst I was coming through the corner, and I was like, we had contact, and then wheel damage all the way to the line from Village corner.
Yeah, it definitely was a wild one out there, and a couple of previous drivers we chatted with kind of talked about the nature of Silverstone. There's a million lines through a lot of these corners, and those gaps can be awfully enticing when the red mist starts flowing, and it definitely led to some contact in this one, but pretty good racing really up and down the field. And so with the season winding down, I'll ask you the same question that we asked Noah earlier. Are we going to be seeing more of Ryan Stringer out here in the Radical Esports Cup? It's always great to see new talent trying out these fantastic cars.
Well, I originally attempted to get into the broadcast split for Brands Hatch, and I missed out by one spot, which I was really annoyed about because it was the first time driving the car, and I was only like half a second off the pace of James Barry, which James Barry's very well driven driver in this car. So I was kind of hoping to be with him and be battling him, but yeah, I missed out. And then the last 2 weeks, I've made the appearance, which I've really loved driving these cars, and I've just joined the European Championship for the last round. So yeah, it's been good to drive. I actually really enjoy it.
Right on. And just a quick shout out for our Radical European and American Championship. That's a league event that takes place every several Sundays, probably about a month or so apart, and that is also here on RaceSpot. But well, thanks a lot, Ryan, for showing up. Unfortunate your race didn't turn out the way you wanted, but still some great racing out there. Hope you enjoy watching the replay. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to here today?
Yeah, I mean, big thanks to the Scorpio team. I think when it was the round at Hungaroring, there was a comment of, you usually spotted me with the quad dash guys, but racing with the Scorpio livery. Yeah, shout out to both of them. God Dash is a really good group of friends of mine, and then the Scorpio team and the family that are watching, my partner, my dad, and whoever else is watching the stream. Big shout out to them. Thanks for watching.
All right. Well, cheers. And thanks, Ryan, for stopping by. And hope to see you out there next week.
Hopefully.
Okay,
Wow.
cheers.
Wow, what a great day's worth of running. Let's then talk about the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It will be once more May 22nd, 7 days' time that you'll want to catch that. A street circuit that is purpose-built out there with the Montreal Olympics in mind as we run around the rowing centre then that works itself on out there. What a track this will be to test the very, very limits and those two big drafting straights at the end of the lap. You will catch it with us, of course, on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing for all of this great performance. But from the team here today, from Ramiro Augustin Cisneros behind the cameras, JR Gregory alongside me, my name's Jake Sperry. Sometimes we talk about a form book. It's there for a reason. There are drivers who fight for the championship and have an opportunity. But this is a Who's Here series. If you're here, if you turn up, you got every chance of going out there and winning it. You can say driving standards aside. You can say how aggressive drivers are aside. There is one thing that is clear. Noah Balderston is talent, and he is proving it time and time again. He can prove himself to be one of the best in the world if he sticks at it. And with this victory, he's on the next level as he walks up through the levels of what iRacing has to give.